Within the dying planet Hoxxes IV, an abundance of valuable rocks and stone demand to be mined. No one is better equipped to recover these minerals than the irresponsibly managed employees of the Rock Galactic Mining Corporation. This series will provide new employees with essential knowledge to better survive the planet's unique and hazardous biomes, completing mission objectives with their lives intact. Welcome to A Dwarves Guide to Rock Galactic, Part 1, Azure Weald. Located beneath the planet's surface starting at depths of half a kilometre, Azure Weald is one of the more accessible biomes, and arguably the most beautiful. Extensive caverns carved out over millennia by rushing water are now filled with a vibrant, bioluminescent ecosystem of unique plants and animals. The soft rock lining the walls of Azure Weald's caves make ore extraction an effortless endeavour, easily tackled by a standard issue pickaxe. As well as an abundance of gold and nitra, dwarves will find that this biome contains large veins of copper, a precious material useful for crafting equipment. Though rare, it is also possible to find the highly valuable mineral umanite at these depths, albeit in much smaller quantities than the other ores. Azure Weald's ecosystem is thriving, almost every surface covered in a diverse variety of vegetation that serves as the primary food source for many of the biome's native creatures. Auripricots, bloopy fruits and pulsar stick pods are easily identified, as each variety will splatter when disturbed by a dwarf. These plants are a popular choice amongst the animals, their fragile shells allowing easy access to the nutritious nectar inside. Within the shelter of Azure Weald's caves, there is no wind to carry plant spores, and some plants rely on animals to ensure the survival of the next generation. The gherkinshuck emits a bright bioluminescence to entice creatures towards them, releasing clouds of pollen as the animals draw near. These pollen spores are super adhesive and attach to nearby creatures who then unknowingly disperse them throughout the cave. Calocedars also implement this method for spore dispersal, their yellow petals remaining closed until approached. A close relative of this plant, the umbra cedar, has found a technique that doesn't rely on animal interaction. Unlike the gherkinshuck and calocedar, the umbra cedar constantly releases spores at a steady rate. Its gentle swaying creates a slight breeze that propels the spores upwards, where they can travel several meters before landing. Void baskets also release spores continuously, emitting a low humming sound that encourages flying creatures to cross their path, to carry the spores deeper into the caves. Many of the plant species within Azure Weald's ecosystem are less welcoming to animals and have developed specialized adaptations to protect themselves from harm. The Orchis variety favors a stealthy approach, possessing barely any bioluminescence at all to help blend into the gloom. When disturbed, it will shrink into the ground, closing its petals around itself like a shield. The nectar rind also closes when approached. Their specially adapted petals are composed of a chitin-like material that is difficult to break open without tools. Azure Weald is also home to a unique plant species known as a combat charm. This plant can be broken open with a pickaxe or weapon to release the combo bud cocooned inside. Combo buds can be kicked to distract hostile wildlife or at misbehaving teammates. Also unique to this biome, blue pillars scattered throughout the caves emit a mysterious pale light that is capable of protecting both dwarves and creatures from damage. It is not advisable to stand in close proximity to these pillars during a heavy attack. Creatures and dwarves will maintain damage resistance for 15 seconds after leaving the pillar's glowing light, providing them with a tactical advantage. The native creatures of Azure Weald are passive in nature, and their populations are dwindling due to the introduction of several invasive and aggressive species that we will cover in an upcoming episode. The Mobular Cave Angel is one of Azure Weald's most majestic creatures. They appear to swim through the air with an impressive dexterity and grace, a unique flight behavior that scientists are still trying to understand. These creatures can be useful during missions, as they are not opposed to dwarves hitching a ride, helping them access higher levels of the cave. Sharing the air with the graceful Mobular Cave Angel, dwarves will encounter large insects, known as hexawings. These nectarivores are harmless, their bioluminescence making them easy to spot in the dark. Dwarves are asked to avoid damaging both hexawings and Mobular Cave Angels during missions, to help conserve what is left of their dwindling populations. Azure Weald is a relatively safe biome, the only real danger coming from the recent influx of invasive species. Located just over 100 meters above these glittering caves, a completely different environment awaits. Grab a drink from the Abyss Bar and settle in. We're heading into part 2. Sandblasted Corridors. This biome is found at relatively shallow depths, starting at 0.4 kilometers beneath the planet's crust. Some of its smaller tunnels lead directly to Hoxxes IV's surface, sending torrents of strong wind and sand into the caves. These wind tunnels can be fatal to unsuspecting dwarves, as they can launch them great distances, often off the edge of a steep drop. Severe sandstorms have shaped the soft rock over millennia, resulting in large open caverns and crumbling ledges. These storms may only last a few minutes, but they are extremely intense, significantly reducing visibility for any dwarf caught in their path. Compared to the dense ecosystem of Azure Weald, the Sandblasted Corridors are fairly vacant, supporting only one species of flora. This is the explosive spore plant. As the name suggests, this plant is extremely hazardous, its outer shell containing a highly explosive spore that detonates on impact. These spores can be useful when fighting creatures, as their explosions are quite damaging. Though vacant of life, there is evidence that the Sandblasted Corridors were not always this empty. Large xenoform fossils and ancient rock-encased trees can be found littered throughout the cave, the only remaining evidence of a once thriving ecosystem. Like most of Hoxxes IV's biomes, Sandblasted Corridors contain rich deposits of gold and nitra, increasing in quantity at deeper depths. The chalky walls also encase an abundance of enor pearls, indicated by smaller pearls scattered on the surface of the surrounding rock. Less common, stalagmites of the mineral magnite can be found within these caves, though it is a much rarer sight. Azure Weald and Sandblasted Corridors are the most shallow biomes of Hoxxes IV, and the deeper you go on this planet, the more hazardous things get. Every biome is completely different, presenting new challenges for employees to overcome, to be successful in their missions. Join us next episode as we go deeper beneath the planet's surface, uncovering the wildlife that inhabit the Fungus Bogs and Hollow Bough regions of Hoxxes IV. Thank you for watching, and as always, have fun, stay safe, and leave no dwarf behind. Welcome to A Dwarves Guide to Deep Rock Galactic, Part 3, Fungus Bogs. Snaking beneath Hoxxes IV's crust, vast cave systems formed over millennia contain small isolated pockets of life. At depths of 0.6 kilometers, these caves become damp and marshy, supporting an abundance of unique fungi and vegetation. This is the aptly named Fungus Bogs region of Hoxxes IV. Masses of mud and stinking slime accumulates in pools throughout these caves, hindering movement for dwarves and creatures alike. These damp conditions have over time partially dissolved the walls of the caves, allowing easy extraction of gold and nitra. In addition to these minerals, dwarves will find that Fungus Bogs contains rich veins of copper, as well as jades in much smaller quantities. Though vacant of native animal life, this region of Hoxxes IV contains the most diverse variety of fungi found anywhere on the planet. Between each mushroom, a dense network of mycelium weaves throughout the rock, connecting each species to one another to share both nutrients and information. The xenofungi genus is the most prevalent, with 4 individual species calling these bogs home. Grey bell and tall helmet mushrooms are the most common ground varieties, growing in small clusters surrounding 1 or 2 larger mushrooms at their centre. These mushrooms, like all xenofungi, are harmless, and in some cases, quite helpful. Clinging to the walls of the caves, the Blue Plateau species form strong natural ledges that can provide dwarves with access to hard-to-reach areas. The 4th species of xenofungi is the largest of them all, its white stem topped with a unique purple patterned cap. In addition to xenofungi, the Fungus Bogs are home to the largest known variety of puffball fungus, a species that constantly releases clouds of harmless purple gas. The final species of mushroom found within this biome is much more sinister in nature, indicated by its vibrant yellow colouring. This is the poison spore fungus. Dwarves should give these mushrooms a wide berth, as their spores are highly toxic when inhaled. Periods of long exposure to these spores can cause permanent damage to a dwarf's sense of smell, and in extremely rare cases, cause partial blindness. The mycelium network weaving throughout the rocks produces swamp gases, which are released in force from geysers littered throughout the caves. These steam geysers are extremely damaging, instantly boiling anything caught within a 3-meter radius of their center. As well as fungi, Fungus Bogs is home to a rare species of subterranean grass that hangs from the roof throughout its caves. These grassy curtains can obscure a dwarf's vision, offering an opportunity of ambush to any hostile creatures lurking in the dark. In larger caverns, glow trees offer dwarves some relief from the darkness. Once all 5 bulbs have been hit, with either a pickaxe or a bullet, they remain as a permanent light source. Many of the tunnels at this depth support large populations of exploding plants that are easily identifiable due to their bright red coloration. If damaged, a single plant's resulting explosion can set off a chain reaction throughout the caves, which can incapacitate any dwarf caught in its path. Though vacant of native animal life, the Fungus Bogs provides the perfect conditions for the eggs of the invasive glyphid species, which can be found in clusters throughout its caves. If disturbed, these eggs release glyphid swarmers that react highly aggressively to any dwarves standing nearby. Stop kicking those barrels around, we're heading into part 4, Hollow Bough. Located at depths of 0.7 to 0.8 kilometers below the planet's surface, the Hollow Bough region boasts particularly large caverns, lined with rock and the limbs of ancient trees. Despite the rotting wood encasing much of the walls and floors, dwarves will find this region contains an abundance of jadis, as well as much smaller quantities of bismore. 4 unique species of lichen cling to the walls here, providing nutrients for the corpse feeder maggots that live inside the soft rock. These invertebrates are passive in nature and will retreat when they sense a dwarf approaching. Hollow Bough's cave floor is covered with a shallow layer of sandy soil that supports a diverse variety of plant life, including small thickets of thorny weeds. Though many of the plant species are harmless, there are a few aggressive varieties that dwarves should be aware of when exploring these caves. Bloated crimson vines clog many of the tunnels, their extendable white thorns inflicting damage when touched. A smaller variety of these, the creeper vine, is also studded with needle-like thorns, but will retract into the ground when damaged. As well as the bloated and creeper vines, Hollow Bough supports another vine species which is considered to be the most dangerous of them all. This is the stabber vine. It actively seeks out any living thing that passes its way, lunging with a bone-like hook with surprising accuracy and speed. How these vines are able to sense intruders with such precision is unknown, though scientists speculate it could have something to do with sensing minute changes in electromagnetic fields. As vine tendrils decay, they shrivel into dry thorn tumbles dispersed throughout the caves. Vines are not the only hazardous flora found within Hollow Bough. The thorn pot plant contains a cluster of bright yellow spikes within its thorn-covered exterior. If the plant receives substantial damage, these spikes are explosively launched in all directions, with devastating results. Goosack plants, also unique to this biome, contain an extremely sticky slime that is released from pods when damaged, dramatically slowing down movement of creatures caught in the spill. Dwarves may also spot bough cones hanging from the ceiling of high caverns, which can be shot down for some harmless fun. Understanding the natural hazards lurking within the varied biomes of Hoxxes IV is essential for survival, as every cave system is completely different. Join us next episode as we delve even deeper beneath the surface, exploring the ecosystems of the dense Biozone and the Crystalline Cavern regions of the planet. Thank you for watching, and as always, have fun, stay safe, and leave no dwarf behind. Welcome to A Dwarf's Guide to Deep Rock Galactic, Part 5, The Dense Biozone. Located between depths of 0.8 to 0.9 kilometers, the dense biozone possesses the most vibrant palette of colors of any biome within Hoxxes IV. Every cavern is lined in a brilliant red and blue rock, inlaid with deposits of gold and nitra. Rare stalagmites of Umanite can also be found at these depths, scattered amongst the more common cubic formations of bismore. Analysis of the rock lining these caverns suggests that the dense biozone was once completely submerged in water, an idea reinforced by the many species of coral that still adorn the caves. Despite the absence of water, the corals continue to thrive here, aided by localized downpours that regularly occur in this biome. The rain is both a blessing and a curse for dwarves, offering resistance to fire damage whilst simultaneously dimming the intensity of lit flares. A majority of the dense biozone's corals rest on the cave floor with one very unique exception: coral tongues. This species clings to the cave walls, their coral base protecting fleshy tentacles that constantly sweep the air, searching for microscopic organisms to feed on. Alongside these wall corals, bioluminescent green flowers grow in abundance, which can be very useful for identifying cave boundaries in the dark. Traversing these caverns in poor light is not advisable, as the dark conceals several species of spiky plants that can cause significant damage to a dwarf's boots. The cave urchin and trapatactus plants are the lead offenders and should be given a wide berth. As the name suggests, the dense biozone contains the most abundant array of vegetation found anywhere on Hoxxes IV, rivaling even that of Azure Weald. It even has its very own species of bioluminescent plant that would not look out of place in Azure Weald's ecosystem: the glowlit. In its resting state, its petals remain closed, opening only when approached to reveal a purple orb of light. These petals will remain open unless damaged, becoming an additional light source for dwarves exploring the caves. Similar to Fungus Bogs, the dense biozone is home to a species of exploding plant that will cause a chain reaction when detonated. Although both these species are capable of producing devastating explosions, they differ in coloration. Dense biozone's exploding plants are a vibrant blue, a contrast to the deep red of the Fungus Bog variety. Ejector cacti, however, are unique to the dense biozone and can be quite helpful for any dwarves caught facing a swarm. When approached, an ejector cactus will release a barrage of thorn-like spines, capable of inflicting heavy damage to any creature standing in close proximity. Dwarves should activate these plants with caution, as their spines can set off any exploding plants in the nearby area. The final species of plant found within the dense biozone also has utilization during missions: the elevator plant. Its broad flat leaf is highly sensitive to weight changes, and it will raise into the air when pressure is applied. This can help dwarves gain access to the higher levels of the caves, where hidden riches wait to be found. The elevator plant can also be triggered by shooting the glowing bulb connecting its leaf to the stem, though this is considered a waste of bullets. As with many of Hoxxes IV's caverns, the dense biozone is plagued by thick spiderwebs that hang in curtains from the ceilings. Dwarves should avoid walking through these, as they can obscure vision, making them vulnerable to ambush. These webs are often positioned around nests of glyphid eggs, which will release glyphid swarmers if damaged. Though small, these swarmers are highly aggressive and can overwhelm a single dwarf with ease. Slap those dice for luck. We're heading into part 6, Crystalline Caverns. Located at depths of 0.9 to 1 km beneath the surface, the rock lining Crystalline Caverns walls is relatively tough, requiring more swings of a pickaxe compared to the rock of shallower biomes. Despite the rock density, large deposits of gold and nitra can still be found here, as well as an abundance of jadis and smaller quantities of bismore. Vegetation is unable to take root in this region, the hard rock prohibiting the growth of healthy roots. In its place, smoking mineral chimneys release foul-smelling gases into the air, which can lead to acute respiratory problems with prolonged exposure. As you would expect from its name, the Crystalline Caverns region of Hoxxes IV contains a diverse variety of crystals littered throughout its caves. Plain and pink quartz are the most common varieties, and they are often found blocking tunnels throughout the cave. Thankfully, these quartz crystals are extremely brittle and can be easily broken with a pickaxe or drill. As well as quartz, Crystalline Caverns is home to blue pillar crystals that emit a radiant light that helps dwarves navigate the darkness of the cave. These should not be confused with blue electrocrystals, which will shock anything that comes into contact with them. The energy within these electrocrystals can build to react with other crystals nearby, exchanging high voltage electrical bolts with each other at regular intervals. As with the dense biozone, dwarves will find spider webs hanging from the ceilings of this biome, but thankfully no glyphid eggs. Though almost completely vacant of life, Crystalline Caverns does support one organic species: the walleye. This passive organism is only found within the Crystalline Caverns and Radioactive Exclusion biomes of Hoxxes IV, and very little is known about its origin and purpose. Its many bloodshot eyes will follow a dwarf's progress throughout the cave. If the feeling of being watched becomes too much to bear, dwarves can shoot one of the eyes to force it to close for a short period of time. When it comes to survival on Hoxxes IV, knowledge of the environment can be just as valuable as bullets. Though most wildlife is dangerous, there are passive species that can help dwarves overcome the various hazards these biomes present. So far, our journey has taken us through 6 of the 10 known regions of Hoxxes IV, and the environments only get more hostile from here. Join us next episode as we delve into the remaining biomes, working our way from the salt pits through to the planet's Magma Core. As always, thank you for watching, have fun, stay safe, and leave no dwarf behind. Within the dying planet Hoxxes IV, an abundance of valuable rocks and stone demands to be mined. No one is better equipped to recover these minerals than the irresponsibly managed employees of the Deep Rock Galactic Mining Corporation. This series will provide new employees with essential knowledge to better survive the planet's unique and hazardous biomes, completing mission objectives with their lives intact. Welcome to A Dwarves Guide to Deep Rock Galactic, Part 7, The Salt Pits. Sitting beneath the Crystalline Caverns regions of Hoxxes IV, the salt pits extend to depths of 1.2 kilometers. The red rock lining the caves of this biome is composed mostly of salt, making it extremely porous and brittle. Gold ore, pearls, and deposits of nitra can be found in abundance here, easily extracted from the surrounding rock. Though lacking vegetation, these caves are by no means empty, containing almost as many crystal varieties as the Crystalline Caverns. Small red crystals are the most abundant, fringing many of the salt pit's walls, sometimes obstructing line of sight down narrow tunnels. These crystals are incredibly brittle, shattering with the tiniest application of pressure. Where the rock has become oversaturated with salt, larger, more resilient crystals of red and white form in pillars, cluttering many of the salt pit's wider caverns. As a whole, these crystals are useless, nothing more than a mild inconvenience when exploring the caves. There are some crystal varieties, however, that do have utilization during missions. A tall, translucent variety of pillar crystal provides a soft white glow to its nearby surroundings, illuminating large areas of the cave. Other crystals form in flat outcrops, serving as platforms for dwarves, though these are prone to shattering. The most unstable crystal variety found within salt pits hangs in stalactites from cave ceilings. Dwarves are advised to exercise caution when using explosives around these crystals, as the shockwaves can dislodge them with devastating results. From the salt pits, the drop pod descends through a mile stretch of nigh impenetrable rock, free of natural caves and tunnels. Starting at depths of 2 kilometers beneath the planet's surface, the rock opens to reveal one of Hoxxes IV's deadliest biomes. Welcome to Part 8, the Radioactive Exclusion Zone. Sealed off from other cave systems by a kilometer of impenetrable rock above, and 2 kilometers below, the biome's high-intensity radiation remains localized to this region. Over centuries, the radioactive has mutated the native species, leading to the evolution of some of the strangest varieties of vegetation found on the planet. The most common is the Radioactive. Fossil records suggest that this passive plant species was once adorned with flowers, now long lost to centuries of mutation. The Radioactive species are found growing in small groups, their rock-like coloration helping them blend effortlessly into the cave floor. Embedded amongst deposits of gold, nitra and umanite, numerous growths of grey and green cling like moss to the walls of the caves. Dwarves should avoid mining these growths, as they contain a highly radioactive liquid capable of causing extreme harm with prolonged contact to bare skin. On rare occasions, these tumorous growths are accompanied by species of walleye, similar to that found within the Crystalline Caverns region. Perhaps the most unusual plant found exclusively within this zone is the breather. This plant filters nutrients from the ashy air with each breath. expelling unwanted material back into the environment. Breathers react positively to the presence of dwarves, suggesting that they may possess some sentience. Amongst the spider webs and rock trees littered throughout the caves, volatile uranium crystals glow a poisonous green. Dwarves that wander too close can suffer severe radiation burns in a matter of seconds. Where volatile uranium is found blocking tunnels, their glowing centers can be shattered to render the crystals inactive and make the way safe. Time to go through decontamination before we head into Part 9, the Glacial Strata. This is Hoxxes IV's second deepest region, located at depths of 5 kilometers beneath the surface. Temperatures within this biome plummet below freezing, the cave walls and floors encased in a thick permafrost. Ancient waterways encased in ice create slippery, low-friction patches that dwarves can slide upon for a short boost in movement speed. As well as sub-zero temperatures and slippery terrain, the Glacial Strata presents many other challenges to survival. Unstable icicles hang from the ceilings, liable to fall at any moment. Scarring the glistening walls, natural vents expel torrents of icy air, capable of flash freezing any living thing caught in the blast. These vents can make ore extraction challenging, but if approached with care, dwarves will be rewarded with an abundance of gold, nitra and magnite. Many of Glacial Strata's caves contain deep crevasses, concealed only by a thin layer of cracked ice. When stepped upon, the surface layer will shatter, often revealing a deadly drop. With this in mind, dwarves should take special care during blizzards, as the heavy snow can impair vision, making these crevasses impossible to see. As well as partially blinding dwarves, Glacial Strata's blizzards force temperatures to rapidly plummet, freezing organic life in the process. The heavy snow left behind these storms can also drastically impede movement, not ideal if you are running from an incoming threat. Despite the inhospitable conditions, Glacial Strata does support a small selection of hardy flora. First up, the cryobulb. This crystalline plant is extremely volatile, its spiky bulb filled with a pressurized gas. When damaged, the gas inside explodes, super freezing anything caught within a 4-meter radius. Thankfully, this is by far the most dangerous plant variety found in this region. The cryophoma, easily identified by its vibrant coloration, is more helpful in nature. The liquid inside is highly sensitive to temperature fluctuations, and if exposed to the cave air, will solidify instantly. If conveniently placed, this can create platforms to help dwarves reach new areas of the cave. The final plant found within the Glacial Strata is a species of grass unsuited to such cold temperatures. It grows exclusively around hot vents on the ground, known as oases. The warm air circulating these oases is a welcome break from the bitter cold, effective as natural frostbite prevention. Boarding the drop pod from the Glacial Strata, we descend further beneath the surface. At depths of 12 kilometers, the cage door opens to reveal the Magma Core. When exploring this region, dwarves will experience sweltering temperatures of up to 400 degrees, along with various other environmental hazards. Sitting atop the planet's molten core, this region experiences regular earthquakes, caused by colliding tectonic plates. These quakes can open fiery crevasses in the cave floor, revealing the deadly lava below. The shaking ground is difficult to walk on, dramatically slowing a dwarf's movement speed for the duration. Centuries of earthquakes has resulted in the formation of lava geysers, which periodically release a deadly stream of superheated material hundreds of feet into the air. The noxious gases of smoke in mineral chimneys also heavily contribute to the biome's air toxicity, which can be damaging if inhaled over long periods of time. The dense rock lining the caves of the Magma Core often contains veins of lava, making it dangerous to touch. Minerals such as gold, nitra and magnite are abundant at these depths, but mining them is a challenge, owing to the extreme rock density and heat. Surprisingly, even at these depths and in these superheated conditions, some plant life has taken hold. The yellow tubal plant feeds on ashy particles as they drift by, hoovering them up and storing them for later digestion. Chrome puff plants are also unique to this biome, named for their metallic appearance. So far in this series, we have embarked on a thrilling journey throughout the treacherous biomes of Hoxxes IV, focusing on environmental hazards and features. From the Sandblasted Corridors through to the scorching Magma Core, knowledge of potential hazards is vital for survival. Although our exploration of the planet's region is now complete, the journey is not yet over. In upcoming episodes, we will uncover the invasive glyphid species that plague the planet, unraveling their vicious attacks and revealing the secrets necessary for survival. As always, thank you for watching, and until next time, have fun, stay safe, and leave no dwarf behind.